Welcome, everyone, to North Wilkesboro Speedway, the second of 14 HTL Challenger Series races from Daytona in the high banks of that 2.5-mile superspeedway to the small 6/10 of a mile short oval resting on a hill in North Carolina. Welcome you to HTL Challenger Series on ABN. Short track racing here tonight. 150 laps coming up for the drivers involved. 22 trucks on the racetrack here this evening. We're glad you're with us here for HTL on ABN here in North Carolina. The point standings, Josh Susie currently leads the way. All of them should be in red. We got the top three in red. I guess to start is Josh Susie, Blue Jade, and Dustin Hall. Your top three in the standings. Byron Jones in fourth, Blake Henderson in fifth, Davis Smith Jr. in sixth. Then it's Brady Smith, Ryan Moutre, John Matthews, Eli Sasek, and Casey Ellis. Dakota Osborne making up your top 12 there in the points following Daytona a week ago. Everyone looking to sort of put Daytona in the rearview mirror officially. Beginning tonight, Gary Donaldson, Tristan Bayer, Alfred Denny, Kevin Gibney Jr., Bryce Borer, Wesley Worley, DJ Anderson, Christina Ryan, Marcus Chafin, the 21 trucks that took part in the race last Tuesday. Mark Parkhurst, Josh Gaiman on the racetrack here tonight. Bailey Thompson is registered for the season, but is not yet taken part in any events, so staying at 0 points for another week at least is the 27 truck here in North Wilkesboro. Qualifying, for the most part, has been completed here. And this is what it looks like. And again, Josh Gaiman in blue. I'm not sure why he is in blue. The series is supposed to be in red. Oh, I see why. Some of the Cup Series stuff carried over. So we have time to go ahead and get through that, but you can kind of see what the leaderboard looks like right now while we get everything updated then. Seeing as how we still have some of the Cup Series stuff left over from last night and the HTL Daytona 500, which is available both on Patreon and on YouTube. Fantastic race last night. Philip Snipes winning the 8th HTL Great American Sim Race to kick off the Cup Series campaign. Right now it's Eli Sasek for Ascent Racing, currently sitting as the fastest driver on the racetrack. 22 cars, only 21 have set a lap time. Blue Jade will miss the start, it looks like here. All right, so let's see if we can go ahead and fix that real quick. One thing that really needs to be changed at the moment is the little top and the colors in the standings. So, that. But Eli Sasek currently the fastest driver in qualifying here. About less than 2 minutes left to go here in qualifying is how things sit. Byron Jones second, Bryce Borer third, Josh Gaiman your top four. As we get ready to go racing, Mark Parkhurst, I believe he's supposed to be in a Chevrolet. And he is in a Chevrolet. Get that updated as well. He has the HTL logo because we didn't have a manufacturer for him. Less than 2 minutes left to go. It doesn't look like there's anyone else left to go on the racetrack here. So Eli Sasek, after the disappointment that has been Daytona for the Ascent Racing team, will leave Daytona and immediately start on pole position here in North Wilkesboro. Pretty impressive stuff there. Parkhurst in 7th, Alfred Denny in 8th, Dakota Osborne in 9th, John Matthews top 10. Christina Ryan struggling the most right now, 21st of 21 that have set qualifying times. Not a fan of this racetrack is Christina Ryan, the second place finisher last night in the HTL Daytona 500. Sort of just looking beyond this, getting ready for the next couple races on the calendar. And so qualifying is completed. These drivers will now have 5 minutes and counting to get final run-throughs through final check-ins, go through the installation lap list, pit entry practice. 19 penalties last night on pit lane, most of them speeding penalties. This track is tricky too. It's a short oval, a lot slower pit lane as well. You will lose more time comparison to being at Daytona. Huge test of patience here. People cheering on Team Outlaws already. Pull that back up. There we go. Things look a little bit more fancy. Do want to take some time while we are in the running here to shout out some of our Patreon subscribers, the Premier Tier subs. We've got quite a few. We have a lot of people that have joined over this month of May. Several in the ABM Plus tier. They'll be at the bottom of your screen more than likely here in just a moment. Trade Up Slogan, though, leads the way with the Premier Tier support, sitting at a full year ahead of Dogman 2935, Eli Sasek, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head, B-Dogs, Colin McDonough, Blue, KJ Gibney, James Wright, and Jay Paul. Thank you all for joining the squad here. If you want your name shouted out as well or included in the little ticker at the bottom of the screen coming up, the QR code is the way to do it. It's going to be pretty straightforward from there. Hit the QR code, subscribe to one of the 2 tiers. ABM Premier's $10 a month for additional content, including ABM Victory Lane and Countdown to Green, which was included in our broadcast on Patreon last night in the HTL Daytona 500. As well as a bunch of different news articles, rundowns, driver spotlights. It's a bunch of different extra content going into this month and into this upcoming, these new HTL seasons. I'm getting everything updated because we did have a surge of subscribers on Patreon last night. I'm trying to make sure I got all of their names on the list. Good there. All right. So it does look like we are good to go for this event. Blue Jade, as we mentioned, will likely miss the start here. I don't see Jade on the racetrack, so we'll go ahead and assume that is a scratch at the moment, but that is not. Blue Jade is on the racetrack, actually. Go ahead and fix that. There's the 83. Expected to miss the first 20 laps of this race. Blue Jade on the racetrack is present. We'll start 22nd. Probably not a bad place to be. Okay, getting up to speed. First laps really in practice is right now for the 83. We'll be using a lot of the early portions of this race to try to get up to speed. You see how much everyone's dancing around on the racetrack at the moment. It is tricky. It's very tricky. But it's a fun dance. It's a very fun dance to watch play out. Seeing some of the struggles early on here as time elapses. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the starting grid for this event here in North Wilkesboro. Eli Sasek and Byron Jones front and center in the field. Sasek on pole position. Byron Jones in row number 1 on that outside front row. Bryce Bohr and Josh Gaiman. Gaiman was a spotter a week ago in Daytona. Now on the racetrack in that 61 Ram. Starting in 4th in his first Challenger Series race of the campaign. Ryan Moutre, the Buc-ee's Chevrolet, starts in 5th alongside Brady Smith, who had a rough ending to Daytona a week ago. Mark Parkhurst and Alfred Denny. Parkhurst in his first race after relocating. Now sitting in 7th alongside Alfred Denny. Dakota Osborne and John Matthews make up your top 10 on the starting grid. Spencer Teal and Kevin Gibney Jr. just outside the top 10. 11th and 12th on the grid. 2 formation laps beginning here on your screen. Blake Henderson recovered nicely after a self-spin off the nose of Dustin Hall at Daytona. Top 10 in points, trying to keep that momentum going. He starts alongside Tristan Baer in row 7. Davis Miller Jr. and Casey Ellis make up row number 8. Wesley Worley and Josh Susie. A very surprising 18th place. Worley improving from his qualifying position a week ago. Qualified in 21st. In row 10, we're going to find Marcus Chafin and DJ Anderson, 2 of the old guard. HTL share row 10. 19th and 20th on the grid. Christina Ryan, 6-time ABN most popular driver. Former ABN world champion, starts inside row 11 alongside Blue Jade, who did not set a qualifying time, but all 22 trucks are on the racetrack getting ready to go racing here in North Wilkesboro. Almost ready to go here. And it looks like they added an extra lap here to the formation. Weather, it's always an ever important factor in racing. And it's important here too. The conditions ever changing, ever difficult. Not a lot of wind speed. Wind speed's never really been a factor. It's all about track temperature. 77 degrees, the air temp, that little bottom number, 110 degrees, that's the track temperature. That is how hot the asphalt is that these drivers are racing on. Way hotter than anything they raced on at Daytona. Very slippery, and these drivers feel it. 775 horsepower in these trucks. And it's time to go racing. We're underway here in North Wilkesboro and already scrambling. Eli Sasek will spin from the front of the field. Drops down to the 5th position. Now battling his teammate Brady Smith, but they get underway. And everyone tiptoeing on these opening laps. We talked about the temperature. It is very slippery. It is very difficult, very challenging. Wesley Worley, his second race in HTL, hip checks DJ Anderson. And he's just trying to get out of the way as he gets up to speed on his own terms. He'll drop to 22nd. Blue Jay up to 21st. Anderson, a little bit of damage, but not enough to really significantly impact the 19's race at the moment. Byron Jones leads the way, feeling comfortable. And everyone, again, tiptoeing around, trying to make things happen here already. Christina Ryan up from 21st to 18th, up 3 spots. Same as KJ Gibney, up in 9th. And the 81 teammates there for Gibney Racing Division. They've got 4 trucks, 4 Ram machines on the racetrack here tonight. Gaiman currently sitting the best of those 4, but he has experience, the most experience of any of those teammates. He raced here in the RX High Octane Series just a couple months ago. That experience very fresh in his mind. Didn't have access to all 715 horsepower. I misquoted the power number. 715 horsepower is the number range for the horsepower in these trucks. What started as a happy little accident in Daytona became permanent here in North Wilkesboro. Everyone loved the extra horsepower. It definitely made the race different in Daytona, but it's a lot trickier here. These trucks were already tricky with 650 horsepower. Add 75, and you get yourself an interesting little mixture going on right now. Battle for second place, though. It is between Bohr and Gaiman. These two did not have a lot of overlap in their Cup Series tenure. Bryce Bohr competed in part of Season 3 as Josh Gaiman entered the competition in the HTL Cup Series. So they've only ever actually clashed a couple of times on the racetrack. This will be the first time in about 2 years that the two have shared the racetrack together. The filling out process. Byron Jones felt really good in that Ulti Energy number 24. He is out in front early here in Daytona, here in North Wilkesboro. He looked really good in Daytona a week ago. Finished on the podium. Felt really confident going into North Wilkesboro, and you're seeing that confidence in full motion. Qualified outside front row. Got the jump on Eli Sasek, who has recovered to the 4th spot. Stabilized himself there after that wheel spin on the start. Now sits solidly in 4th ahead of his teammate Brady Smith. Only 2 Ascent machines compared to the 8. The 9, actually, that we saw in Daytona last night for the Cup Series season opener. Smaller numbers for the team, but both drivers, Eli Sasek and Brady Smith, are no slouches when it comes to racing. High expectations for both of them in the Cup Series campaign, and equally so here in the Challenger Series. And Sasek flows in on Gaiman and on Bohr. Alfred Denny up 2 spots. He's sitting in the 6th spot. He's found his footing there a little bit ahead of Ryan Moutre and that Bucky's Chevrolet. And we're right on board here with Ryan Moutre. As everyone tiptoes around a little bit, you can tell from the onboard here that this track is on a hill because turns 1 and 2 are downhill. You have to brake going downhill into 1. You come uphill out of turn 2. I've always found as a driver turns 3 and 4 to be easier to take as a driver because you're fighting. You've got gravity assisting you in making the corner. Turns 1 and 2 a little bit easier to miss up and miss your marks on. But you're seeing everyone still dancing around a decent amount here. Moutre lost 2 spots on the start from 5th to 7th because he got checked up by Eli Sasek when he wheel spun. But everyone has found their groove here, and early days, only 1/10 of the way through this race, everyone was expecting this to be pretty much instant cautions tonight. That was, I think, the grave concern. And we've completed 15 laps with no issue. We got some battling going on right now. Christina Ryan hard charging right now, running the outside lane to get around the 25 of Blake Henderson. as well as the 10 of Davis Boone Jr. and Josh Susie. Christina Ryan has now made up 8 spots. The most anyone else has made up so far in this race is 3, and that's Gibney and nobody else. So Christina Ryan found the outside lane, found, I think, more importantly, clean air for that 80 truck, and has made advantage of it. Just chipping away at the moment. No stage breaks, as it is across all of HTL this season. Stage points are on offer. I believe lap 75 is that magical number. Trying to crawl into the top 10. Now it's Neil and Susie have gotten clear of Henderson. Henderson not a fan of this racetrack either. But everyone finding their footing here early on. Really impressed with how everything's going so far. Everyone getting into a rhythm, figuring out how the strategy goes, figuring out how the tire wear is going to be. That's the thing for Josh Gaiman. He has a bit of a window to work with because he had raced here in the high-octane race a couple months ago. But again, didn't have access to the full 715 horsepower in that truck. And that's a huge difference. That is a massive difference, especially when it comes to tire conservation. The back of these trucks will step out a lot easier with that extra horsepower, and that puts strain on these Goodyear tires a little bit more than there already was, with this racetrack being a lot more grip-inducing with the repave. The renaissance of this racetrack has made the track faster, but it's also made it more demanding. Having to tiptoe. Gaiman knows his best chance is an unforced error for Borer. And there you go. There's your opening. Door is open, just a little heavy on the throttle for the 57. Opens the inside lane up for the 61. And Gaiman's got to make sure he doesn't do the same thing and give it right back. And for Borer, he needs to get to the inside lane quick. Otherwise, he could lose 2 spots. Eli Sasek is in that conversation right now. Coming down pit lane is Tristan Baer. Not going to draw a caution. You see the lights stay green. A little bit of a slip and slide out of turn 2 for the 5. Gaiman does get clear of Bryce Borer. We stay green. 25 laps completed of 150. We are a fifth of the way through this race under green flag conditions. Everyone getting a feel for this racetrack. Bryce Borer stepping out a little bit. You see the dust that was built up off of the tire smoke from Tristan Baer's spin. A little bit of that haze down the back straightaway at least. Gaiman's going to now try to reel in Byron Jones, who has led the first 26 laps without fault in that 24 truck. He's in a Ram. He's not in a Chevrolet. He's the one I forgot to update from last week. So it's Rams first and second, Chevrolet legitimately in third with Bryce Borer, and then Toyota in the 4th spot with Eli Sasek now applying pressure to the 57. Brady Smith being under a lot of pressure. That is Alfred Denny looking for a way around, looking at the outside lane right now, using the Christina Ryan line to try to make passes happen. Christina Ryan also working on some cars. That's Spencer Teal, the 18, running around. Mark Parkhurst in 10th. Mark Parkhurst said he was excited. He missed racing in HTL. It's been a little bit since he's run full time. Didn't race last week, but wanted to do most of the Challenger Series campaign. And Kevin Gibney Jr. struggling a little bit there, trying to hold on to the 9th position. But there's a lot of hounds knocking on the door. Brady Smith goes to the middle of the racetrack. Denny goes low. Moutre goes middle. Brady Smith a lot better on the exit of turn 4. Denny trying to just get to the power a little bit better, and it's going to cost him that inside lane, I think, beginning to fall apart as these tires begin to wear more and more. If you're in traffic, that middle lane might be the play. Christina Ryan, I think, was on the right conversation, on the right track, and you're seeing that right now. The 80 truck from 21st to 10th, up 11 spots in 31 laps. Not the biggest fan of this racetrack, but she loves the way this truck feels right now. She has been able to put that truck wherever she wants it to be, found the lane that works the best, being up in that outer lane, and has now worked into the top 10, chasing down now Mark Parkhurst as John Matthews gave up the ghost a little bit, lost position in that battle for the top 5. Sassy has gone around Bryce Bohr in the meantime. Bohr now sitting steady in 4th, Moutre in 5th, Denny looking for 6th, getting around Brady Smith. Parkhurst in 8th, Ryan gets up to 9th around John Matthews, who's trying to stop the bleeding. And here comes Spencer Teal. Josh Susie almost spun it, got really deep into turn 1, tried to get around Spencer Teal. And now under throw from his teammate, David Smith Jr. goes through for 12. For 12. Getting around Wesley Worley, who is going a lap down here. He's just staying on the outside lane. He knows what to do. It was upsetting that he didn't get the performance that the result that I think that he was trying to get at Daytona, because he put in a lot of effort to improve across that race. This race is a very challenging one, and we do have a caution, and it is Tristan Bear and Blake Henderson on 2 separate spins. One out of turn 2, 1, 3, and 4. And Wesley Worley will get that lap back as the free pass recipient here in North Wilkesboro. And it looks like the caution is going to be cited on the 25 of Henderson here, who has gone a lap down. We'll take a look at him real quick. This is going into turn 3. It looks a little bit wobbly there into turn 3, and it just never comes to him. If he gets any contact with the inside wall, it's not much. So he's going to go a lap down, trying to get that car back up and running. Likewise, Tristan Bear spun almost at the same time. We'll have to change the camera on that. Bear with us. But this is what Tristan Bear was at. Just overdrives turn 1 a little bit. Tries to put the hammer down in turn 2. And round he goes in car 5. And again, that was simultaneous to the 25 spinning on the opposite side of the racetrack. But Bear a little bit further forward. Thought he had avoided going a lap down, and indeed he had not. It doesn't look so. But I believe he may have gone a lap down before that had even taken place. Henderson coming down pit lane as a lap car. Wesley Worley comes down pit lane, having gotten the free pass, as we mentioned. Got back on the lead lap. We'll restart this race, it looks like, in the 20th position. A lot of trucks stuck behind the pace car, it looks like. Jumbled up pit lane sequence, and Wesley Worley went a lap down again on pit lane. Very lopsided, the pit lane cycle here. Byron Jones, Josh Gaiman near front of the field, however they've been most of this race for the first restart of the night. First major challenge since this race began. And Josh Gaiman, the same thing that happened to Sasek happened to Gaiman. Only this time he kept his foot in it and tried to hold on to the second position, trying to avoid losing the spots that Sasek did early. And caution is out immediately, and it's Kevin Gibney Jr. involved. Everyone trying to scramble early, knowing how difficult it is to make passes happen early on in a run. So let's take a look here at Kevin Gibney Jr.'s restart. Down in the 19th position is where he sits right now. But he was back there for the most part. He was in 14th on the restart itself. Did he get help, or did he just kind of lose it on his own? He just lost it on his own. Lost it under braking, it looks like there. Almost got into Blue Jade. They're trying to back up and get that truck rolling again. But everyone else makes it through unscathed. And so we hit the pause button again. Tristan Bayer will take the free pass as the first truck 1 lap down. Leaving Henderson and Wesley Worley as lap down trucks. Approaching our second restart of the night, expecting this to be a quick caution. Everyone had just come down pit lane. Getting ready to go back racing. Byron Jones on the outside. Josh Gaiman to the inside. Let's give it another go. We're back underway. Everyone largely a lot cleaner on that restart. A little bit of contact there. Borer to the bumper of Byron Jones, trying to work him out of the bottom lane to get to the race lead. Further back, Christina Ryan's up in the top 4. Ahead of Josh Susi, battling Ryan Moutre for that position. In all 3 trucks there you see running different lanes. Ryan up top, Susi in the middle, Moutre on the bottom. The outer lane's a longer way around. The inside lane's a lot more intensive, though. Christina Ryan said, the outside lane brought me to the dance at the front of the field. I'm going to use it until it's broke. Jones continues to lead the way there in the Ulti Energy 24. Ahead of Bryce Borer, Josh Gaiman lost a spot on the restart down to 3rd. And the 80 and the 81 battle for 4th. Susi in that Ram, that Team Watson Racing Setups machine, and Christina Ryan in that Ron Hornaday throwback from 2005. The important thing for the 80 is that where she's running right now, no one in front of her is. So that's clean air mid-corner. And dirty air is a huge factor in the 7th Generation Cup cars. It's a big thing in the 6th Generation Cup cars as well at the smaller tracks that are not the plate races. Not as much of a factor in these trucks, but it's still important, especially on the short oval when the balance is so sensitive on these trucks. We talk about the aero sensitivity of these trucks. these trucks are a lot more sensitive to an imbalance, whether it's on brakes, whether it's the weight shifting, whether it's aerodynamics. A little bit longer wheelbase, obviously longer bodies than what you see in Cup or anything else. So trying to find clean air is a small advantage, but it's a very important advantage. And it's helping Christina Ryan right now stay in the 4th place. Susie, I think, is the faster truck of the two. But Christina Ryan's got the lane that's hard to beat. Meanwhile, whereas it's Battle of the Minds for 4th, it is a case of brute force going at it here at the front of the field. Bryce Borer tried to apply the chrome horn to the 24 Byron Jones to no avail. And Byron Jones way better on the exits of the corner. Van Boer backs up the corners a little bit and just gets a way better launch. Gets the truck unloaded a little bit easier at both turns 2 and turn 4, which is a huge, massive advantage. You're going to see there's the bump. There's the chrome horn again for Borer. The pressure is on for Byron Jones at the front of the field, and so far he's handled it admirably. Jones is not the fastest of these three. Borer, the most cagey of the three, trying to find his way to the front of the field. He knows that long run pace is not in that 57 truck at the moment, but track position is so crucial here. Those that did not qualify well have had a chance to waste their way into a better position so far. We've had 2 cautions in this race for a total of 8 laps. 3 spins. Blake Henderson, Tristan Bayer, and Kevin Gibney Jr. Boer's going to try to send it heavy into turns 1 and 2. Downhill. Force the 24 up the racetrack, but the 24 just has the better exit once again. And Boer's got to be... You've got to beat him on the exit. You've got to beat him on the exit. The exits are so important. I think Boer is where he's at right now because he knows he can't beat him on the exit. And you're seeing that truck dance around because he is so much more heavy-footed on the throttle here. Compared to Byron Jones, Josh Gaiman, who are a lot more modular with their throttle application, saving those rear tires a little bit. That right rear taking a bit of a beating on the 57. About to go a lap down is DJ Anderson in the 19. Running a little bit on an island, did a half spin at the back of the pack earlier on. And he's just going to kind of run at the bottom of the racetrack here, trying to get out of the way. Not easy to do. I mean, you're kind of just be in the way no matter what. But he's trying to at least remain predictable and let these leaders go through. He knows he's not really in a fight for this. And obviously the lap conversation pretty heavy after last night's Daytona 500. But Anderson doing a great job, just sort of staying out of the way, allowing Smith to go through. John Matthews not really contending with anybody in that conversation. It's Anderson. It'll be Henderson and Worley. Three trucks a lap down, battling for that first truck lap down status. There's Henderson, just a little further back. Now Henderson is in 20th. First truck 1 lap down. Byron Jones beginning to open up the gap a little bit to the 57. You're seeing the exchange, the early press of Bryce Borer is not paying off. Car spun to the inside lane. That was Wesley Worley, who is trying to pick his time to get back around here. He's going to be right now for him to get shot back forward here. Get that truck back in motion. Green flag still rolling because the leaders are coming up right now. Not sure, that truck looked like it was crab walking a little bit. Trouble for Borer. Tagged the fence and has lost the top 3. And now a little bit of contact for 4th between the 57 and the 81. Sasek in 6th, but distant. Susie trying to find his way around. You saw the counter steer from the 57. Yeah, he is wheeling and dealing that 57 truck now. The rear tires are overheated. Ryan up to third. Gaiman clear in second, where he was before the cautions came out earlier on in this race. Jones has moved to the top of the racetrack, giving Gaiman clear space on the bottom. It's taken a lane away from Christina Ryan. She's have to search for a little bit of clean air, at least in 3 and 4. Susie's clear of Bohr for fourth. Bohr in fifth. Has pressure from Sasek for that top 5 spot. Their pole sitter sits in sixth at Alfred Denny, who's having a quiet but effective day. Battle between Ryan Moutre and Davis Mood Jr. for 8th and 9th on the racetrack. And Brady Smith right now sits in the top 10 as the 10 and the 44 duke it out side by side through turns 1 and 2. Bryce Boyer beginning to really lose spots here. You saw him drop down to 9th place, now under pressure from Brady Smith. He wore out those tires really quickly, overheated them massively. At the front of the field, Josh Gaiman has taken over the top spot here in North Wilkesboro. Christina Ryan under pressure, heavy pressure from Josh Susie for third. Ryan did not have the greatest of races at Daytona. Josh Susie won Daytona. Out of turn 4, we have reached 50 laps to go here in North Wilkesboro. 2 cautions. It has been impressive here in North Carolina. Gaiman leads the way, and he's beginning to stretch his legs out a little bit. Jones kind of hanging in there at the moment. Finished on the podium. Finished in third a week ago. This would help him out extensively. Byron Jones did win the stage. He won stage 1. Not any question about that. Gaiman now leads the way. Christina Ryan again under threat from the 81. Ryan Moutre applying pressure to Alfred Denny. Moutre just trying to find a way around Denny for that 6th position. Josh Susie trying to work his way clear, does get clear of Christina Ryan for that 3rd spot. Bryce Bohr has come down the pit lane. Down the pit lane with I said 50 laps to go when I said lap 75, didn't I? 75 to go. We were at the halfway point. Goodness gracious. Coming to 70 laps to go, Bryce Bohr is down pit lane. Mine is all scrambled today. Josh Gaiman leads the way. Susie now up into 3rd place over Christina Ryan. Sasek sitting steady in 5th. The spacing between Sasek and Alfred Denny allows Sasek some breathing room. Some battles further back here, just outside the top 10. Brady Smith in 10th. Mark Parkhurst 11th. Dakota Osborne sitting in the 12th position ahead of Spencer Teal. Kevin Gibney Jr. 14th. Marcus Chafin 77. The Menards Dodge Ram. We have him listed as a Ford. You're going to see that pop up here. He's in a Ram. One of many in this series. Ahead of Blake Henderson, who's just sort of grinding away, staying first truck a lap down in this process. Casey Ellis about to go a lap down, it looks like, in the 35. Sitting in 18th position. Gaiman now leads the way about over 1.5 seconds. And Byron Jones, I believe his tires beginning to fall away from him as well in that 24 truck. It's checked. Susie right back up into the lap of Christina Ryan. Christina Ryan also not far away from Eli Sasek. I stand corrected. Eli Sasek is 2.5 seconds back. I believe the truck that is in front, that is Wesley Worley, Bryce Borer, both of them a lap down here. Sort of in between. Borer on fresher tires. Had to come down, I think, out of necessity. His tires just fell apart on him. And fell apart in a massive way. And he's going to have the ability to sort of drive through some of the leaders here on older tires. Christina Ryan usually pretty good at being aware that the strategy just isn't right now the biggest fight. And Borer trying to find a way around all three of these drivers battling for second place. He's got the grip. He'll find a way through, but it puts everyone in a hard spot. Caution is out. Caution is out, and it's Blue Jade who immediately towed to pit lane. And Blake Henderson, I believe, will be the first truck a lap down and will finally get his lap back. He'd been waiting for half the race to get his lap back. And he finally will in that 25 truck, sitting 18th. We'll see what happened to Blue Jade. And here's what happened to the 83, and it looks like just a spin out of turn 2. Really, no, it just never really regained traction in turn 3. Lost it in turn 2, chased it down the back straightaway, and Blue Jay tried to tow before a caution was drawn, but the field is spread enough around the racetrack that in that position, you're probably going to get a caution no matter what. So Henderson gets the free pass and joins the back of the line. Field down pit lane. Josh Gaiman, Byron Jones, Josh Susie. In that order. Eli Sasek does leapfrog the 80 at Christina Ryan. So Ryan will lose the spot on pit lane. Henderson missed his box. Important time lost there. And Henderson went a lap down again immediately. Sitting in the 18th position. Ready to go back racing here. Less than 60 to go. Third restart of the night. And Josh Gaiman, beautiful restart. Little bit of bumping between Susie and Byron Jones in turns 1 and 2. Stacks up those behind. Did not work out for Josh Susie. It worked out brilliantly for Eli Sasek. Your pole sitter back up to second. And Susie goes to the outside lane, trying to find a way around Byron Jones. Susie's at the fastest lap of the race at 19.75. He's trying to find his way forward. His teammate leads the way. Josh Gaiman out in front. Sasek, the pole sitter, now back in the top 3 for the first time since the start of the race. Susie in 3rd, Jones 4th, Ryan 5th, ahead of Alfred Denny, Davis Mule Jr. in 7th, Mark Parkhurst, Ryan Moutre, and Spencer Teal, your top 10 at the moment. John Matthews applying pressure to Teal in the 98 truck. Sitting 11th, Brady Smith 12th, Kevin Gibney Jr. in 13th, Dakota Osborne struggling right now in the 14th position. Marcus Chafin up into the 15th position. Casey Ellis 16th, Tristan Bayer in 17th. Blake Henderson, first truck, a lap down again. An unfortunate circumstance. We saw it happen earlier with Wesley Worley. It happened with Henderson as well. They'll have to figure out a way to make the free passes actually relevant for future short oval events. And it feels like a little bit of a wasted exercise right now for those trucks a lap down. Gaiman, Sasek, Susie, Jones, top 4 under a blanket. Christina Ryan was in that conversation for a moment. A little bit heavy on the drive out of turn 2. Puts her under threat from Alfred Denny. Unforgiven versus Tombstone. Right now, unlike in the Cup Series where there's a heavy alliance, a little bit of a manufacturer split. Unforgiven in the Chevrolets, Tombstone in the Fords as normal. Everyone getting the feel of the pressure. Less than 50 laps to go, 49 to go for exact. And Sasek has worked his way to the inside of Josh Gaiman. Sasek trying to work his way back to the front. We know there's pace in the 9 truck. He just hasn't had a chance to really show it. A lot of pressure. 2 of the GRD trucks sitting in that conversation as well. Those 2 Dodge Rams battling in the top 3. 61 and the 81. And you see him sawing at the wheel. He is giving it full beans at the moment. On board with Sasek. Looks like Gaiman's going to win that fight for the moment, but the pressure is on, and the caution has come out. And it is in the back of the field, Wesley Worley. I think that is Tristan Bayer, who's also tangled in there. It is. The 5, the 13, and I believe DJ Anderson may have had a piece of it. Indeed he did. And actually a piece of bodywork just came off the 19 as well. Right front fender for DJ Anderson. Let's take a look at what happened. I believe Bayer's the furthest ahead here, and he is. And just spins to the inside of Bryce Bohr there. Hits the outside wall. And into the fence they go on the inside lane, and DJ Anderson nowhere for him to go. Just a little bit of a slip and slide there. Anderson will take the free pass position again. See if he comes down pit lane or not. Several trucks did not here. 13 trucks stayed out on this pit stop sequence. Go to Osborne, Casey Ellis, Marcus Chafin. Obviously, Bryce Bayer came down pit lane. DJ Anderson, Wesley Worley, they were going to come down pit lane, I think, no matter what in that situation. Bryce Borer came down pit lane as well, but he was not in the free pass position. That was Blake Henderson. Henderson does stay out here, so he is now on the lead lap directly. But he will drop to the tail end of the lead lap by Marcus Chafin, and he will restart this race 17th. At the front of the field, it's Josh Gaiman, Eli Sasek, Josh Susi, Byron Jones, Christina Ryan, David Smith Jr., Alfred Denny, Mark Parkhurst, Ryan Moutre, and Spencer Teal, your top 10. As we get ready to go racing once again, our fourth restart coming up with less than 50 laps to go here in North Wilkesboro. It's been a pretty interesting race here in North Carolina. We'll see what they've got. It's Gaiman on the inside lane, and he gets a really good restart this time. This time from the inside lane. And Susi and Sasek contact. They both drive up the hill. Susi trying to Ironman his way to the second spot. Around the 9 of Eli Sasek. Turns 1 and 2 of the contact corners for the most part. Seems like it's where the passes start. Everyone jockeying for positions on this restart. Old tires versus some of the cars at the back on fresh tires now. Gaiman at the front of the field. Sasek, Clara Susi at the front. Jones in that conversation. Davis Smith Jr. has gotten his way around the 10 of Christina Ryan. Or around the 80 of Christina Ryan. Davis Smith Jr. has gotten around. He is in the 10. Ryan's in the 80. Christina Ryan trying to stay clear of Mark Parkhurst. Does so. She stays in the 6th position. She was as high as 3rd at one point. Trying to find a way back into the top 5. Battling the 3rd GRD truck in this top 10 conversation. Side by side, the battles continue on. Spencer Teal trying to surge forward, trying to take on Alfred Denny. That's 8th and 9th on the racetrack in that battle, and they'll swap lanes into turns 1 and 2. Teal to the bottom, Denny up top, as Denny puts his eyes on the 32 of Mark Parkhurst. Ryan Moutre in 10th. He's got a pretty interesting buzzsaw behind him. John Matthews and Brady Smith battling for 11th. Spencer Teal had himself a little bit of a moment, and he's now down to 15th place. Going to 36 laps to go. Henderson getting passed by Casey Ellis. Ellis on fresher tires. Henderson on older tires, as is most of the field. Everyone trying to save a set of tires. If there is a late restart, that could be vital to determine how this race pans out. Gaiman, Sasek, Susi, Jones, Smeal your top 5. Ryan in 6th, still trying to attack Smeal for that top 5 position. Denny, Moutre, and Matthews with 35 laps to go. At the front of the field has opened up 3/4 of a second to Eli Sasek. Josh Susi even further back from there. Gaiman, as we mentioned, has that experience, that recent experience here at North Wilkesboro to know what's going on. Byron Jones in 4th, Davis Mule Jr. top 5. Christina Ryan in 6th, still attacking the 10 as they sit side by side just behind. That is Bryce Borer. who is not on the lead lap at the moment, trying to work his way forward. He has fresh tires as well. Came down pit lane on that last caution. Car in pit lane is DJ Anderson. He's been on pit lane since lap 104, since that fourth caution came out, that he was a part of with Worley and with Tristan Bayer. Coming to 30 laps to go. And Bryce Bohr is going to try to just race his way back to the lead lap here the hard way. Don't blame him. That's your best shot right now. About to go a lap down, it looks like, I think that was the 5 of Tristan Bayer. No, it's not. It was Wesley Worley, who is just ahead of the race leaders at the moment. Eamon leads the way. 29 laps to go. Sasek, Susi, Jones, Smeal, Ryan, your top 6. Bryce Bohr heavy on the throttle, almost overcorrected it into the fence again. Christina Ryan shut the door on Bryce Bohr there. Obviously, Christina Ryan focusing on the battle with the 10. Not worried about 57 right now. 57 trying to get his way back on the lead lap here. Has his work cut out for him. Battle side by side further back. Matthews and Moutre for 9th. With Dakota Osborne in the mix in 11th. He thought about making it 3 wide. He'll have to instead slot behind Moutre. And there is Marcus Chafin, the 77 truck in 12th. And they've come across lap traffic in the worst way from Moutre. It didn't cost him time. Very surprised there. Smith, Gibney, they'll get around Wesley Worley. He's just trying to stay in the outside lane. Damaged race truck. Just trying to hang around. Log in laps at this point for the 13. 1.2 seconds between Gaiman and Sasek. Susi just there on the tail. They continue to battle in that fringe of the top 10. Alfred Denny's now in that conversation. The 21 truck in 8th. 5 trucks in this conversation from Denny to Chafin. Matthews goes around. There's our 5th caution. It was Matthews around the nose of Moutre that resets this field with around 23 laps to go. And here's what happened. Looking at John Matthews in the 98. Moutre in the 44 on the outside lane. Denny just in front of both of them. And I think he just runs up the racetrack thinking he might have been clear. It looks like he may have been clear for a second, but it disappears on him. Not a whole lot Moutre can do in that situation. Moutre gets into the center on Dakota Osborne. But Matthews, who I think shares the lion's share of the blame for that, just trying to close the door on Moutre when Moutre was alongside, is the one that ends up backwards here. DJ Anderson back on the racetrack at the moment. Josh Susi, 2-tire stop for the 81. He took right side tires for this restart, coming to less than 20 laps to go. He thinks that that might help him win over his teammate that'll be on the front row with him. Susi will have to pick the outside lane. I would be surprised if he doesn't. Eli Sasek in 3rd, Byron Jones in 4th, Davis Mule Jr., Christina Ryan, Mark Parker, Spencer Teal, Alfred Denny, and Dakota Osborne will be your top 10. We will have less than 20 laps to go. Blue Jay will get the free pass, as will, I think, DJ Anderson, or the wave around, I should say, and they'll join at the very tail end of the field as Wesley Worley leaves pit lane as well. Susie on the outside lane, as we expected. He's going to need to use that on the 2 tires to try to get through these next 19 laps. Susie, Gaiman, Sasick, Jones, your top 4. We go back racing, 5th restart of the night here in North Wilkesboro. Gaiman's got 4 fresh tires. Susie's got 2 of them. 2-tire stop for Spencer Teal as well, the 18. Christina Ryan outside lane, trying to find a way around Eli Sasick now. Got around Davis Field Jr. for that top 5. Trouble, cautions out, and it's at the back. Tristan Baer. And we re-rack him again. It halts Christina Ryan's progress. She had just battled around Sasick, but the caution comes out as the position exchanged. So Sasick goes back to 4th, Ryan to 5th. Bryce Bohr involved in this, it looks like. So let's take a look. Bryce Bohr, full head of steam. Bohr goes into a half spin. He tows back to pit lane as well, and I'm not sure. Except for frustration, that's a truck that could finish this race. So I'm not understanding that mythology. Obviously upset losing the free pass, being involved in the caution. But I don't know why you would just throw it away like that either, because we have another restart, and now you're more than a lap down. There's no chance for you to get back on the lead lap at this point. That is a confusing decision, I think. But we'll look at it again, and we'll look at it from high above here. Let's use one of our top-down cameras here and kind of see. Tristan Baer in the 5. Bryce Bohr with a full head of steam. Keep it on the 57, entering the bottom of your screen. Yeah, I think that's on the 5 of Tristan Baer, unfortunately. Trying to cut down on the 57. Neither of them on the lead lap in this situation. I don't understand where, unless Baer just did not get a call that Bohr was there into turn 3. I don't know how that came to be. It's a difficult place to have that happen. Bryce Bohr has called his race over with 20 laps to go effectively. Green flag flies, away we go. Gaiman on 4 fresh tires. Susie on 2. You're going to see what that battle looks like here. Coming to 12 laps to go. Gaiman with those fresh tires. That's exactly what we thought it would be. Looked like there was trouble further back. It was Chafin, the 77, that had a little bit of an issue. I don't know if he completely spun, but it wasn't far away. And there's trouble, and there's a huge crash. Smith, Henderson, and Osborne. Henderson bounced off of Brady Smith and keeps going. It looks like Osborne had spun in front of him. And Brady Smith, I think, eats the worst of it there. Let's see what happened here. This is Osborne in the 79, Brady Smith in the 95, who eats the worst of this. Osborne, I can get tight. He loses immediately under braking for turn 1. just slides the back of the truck out. Smith gets clipped. Oh, that's what happened to Brady Smith. He got clipped by the 79 up into the path of the 25, who had it pretty well made. And now they're involved again. And Brady Smith trying to just get that truck turned around. Marcus Chafin not involved. He came to a stop before making contact with the 95, thankfully. Trouble late for those trucks. Osborne gets away with the least amount of damage of anybody involved in that. Going green with 6 laps to go, it looks like. Cautions have gotten a little bit more frequent. Drivers pushing a little bit harder now. And you're seeing the effects of that. We talked about the track temperature here. 110 degrees. The track's actually cooled down. 102 degrees now. The track cooling down a little bit more. So there should be more grip coming into the track, which I think might be actually contributing to drivers just driving a little bit harder because the grip's getting better as the run goes along. Gaiman at the front of the field. He took the lead over from his teammates. They tightly pack out of turn 4, and the green flag flies. Away we go. Inside lane, asleep on that restart. Remember, Susie on 2 tires gets tagged by Sasek. Byron Jones eats the worst of that. Sasek drives up to 2nd. Christina Ryan up to 3rd. Susie not going to be happy with the 9. Now in 4th, battling his teammate. And the caution is out again. And it's for Marcus Chafin. And his day is not going to get to the finish. You see the smoke billowing out of the 77. What happened to Marcus Chafin, the Atlanta Motorsports driver? Just slides out of turn 4 and never gets it back. Never made contact with Blue Jade. Just completely just never got the truck back under his own power. And it looks like day done for Marcus Chafin. Unfortunate because he'd worked so hard to be in the conversation there at the end. What that does mean is that we are now into ABN overdrive here in North Wilkesboro. 3 attempts to try to end this race under green. It'll reset with 2 laps to go. We will go beyond regulation, beyond 150 laps. We're on lap 148 right now. So laps will extend here. Seventeen trucks on the lead lap. Tristan Bayer, his beat-up race truck, is back in the conversation now. Gaiman, Sasek, Ryan, Susie, Smeal, Parkhurst, Denny, and Matthews, your top 8. Henderson and Teal, your top 10. Green flag is in the air. Away we go. Gaiman walks away from Eli Sasek that time. And Sasek couldn't respond. All they have to do is get to the white flag lap, and this race will be official. And that's exactly what they do. White flag is in the air. 1 to go here in North Wilkesboro. And Josh Gaiman, league of his own, already 3/4 of a second clear. It's a battle for second. Josh Gaiman comes across. He'll win in North Wilkesboro. It's a 1-2 for Gibney Racing Division. Eli Sasek third, Christina Ryan fourth. Mark Parkhurst on his return to racing finishes in fifth. Byron Jones and Parkhurst actually around in turn one. But Josh Gaiman victorious here in North Wilkesboro. A fantastic race for Josh Gaiman, your race winner here in North Wilkesboro. An outstanding drive for him. And as he celebrates, we will talk to our podium finishers here in North Wilkesboro. See if we can talk to Eli Sasek. Sasek not available at the moment, so we'll go ahead and jump in and talk to Josh Susi, who had a lot of experience going in, spent a decent amount of time getting ready for this race. Josh Susi, it was an interesting race. Everyone was sort of worried, but we had a decent amount of green flag racing tonight. Walk us through how your race went in that number 81 machine.
I think you get that a lot when you're kind of on the edge of control in the daytime, which is why I try to advocate heavily for the Cup Series to run like noon and 130-degree track temp, just because you don't have slot cars and people have to take care of their stuff and be on edge. And you actually see some green flag racing, which was awesome to see. I mean, I'll eat my own words. I'll be the first to admit it. I thought going into this race we were going to approach records for cautions, and until the end of the race where, once that domino falls, you're going to get caution, caution, caution. That's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, the first 2/3 of the race was really good. I screwed myself by messing up qualifying and had to start 18th. Just tried to be patient. I think I got 4th in stage. So other than having to take 2 tires to do something different to get in front of Gaiman, who had track position the whole race, pretty solid night.
A win at Daytona, a second here in North Wilkesboro, a great way to sort of shake off things here. Obviously getting out of Daytona. I think everyone's, thankful being away from Daytona at this point. The season now well and truly underway on both sides here. The 81 truck looked great on both sides. What's the feeling now going into the season? Your worst result so far is a 10th. Or I guess 11th would be from Daytona last night, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to think about last night.
And that's fair. Let's say about last Tuesday's race in Daytona. That one was a little bit more easy. But the results, though, consistency is key. A lot of different race cars here. The Gen 6 car, Gen 7 in the Cup Series as well. You have the trucks here with that extra power boost, a huge difference. Consistency is important, and that 81 truck is one of the most consistent. What is the feeling going into this season? Obviously some sour vibes, a sour taste in the mouth from last season after how everything ended there. kicking off the season as consistent as the 81 car has been, has that helped as far as just kind of getting everything going? And obviously, now you've got all four cars for GRD running, and three of them in the top 10, all four finishing lead lap tonight, which is a pretty good achievement. All four cars largely stayed out of trouble for across the entire race. What does that do for the team going, beyond Memorial Day into the month of June?
Uh, It's just a good shot in the arm. You always want to start off the season strong. It's never fun to try to play catch up. And then you start overdriving and find yourself in more trouble than you need to be. So, like you said, consistency is just the name of the game. I'm hoping I'm not starting a trend here and finishing worse every race. But no, if I can just get stage points and solid top fives, top tens, battle for wins when they're available. That's the name of the game nowadays. That we finally got rid of that old stupid point system, and we got a chase style back again. It's all about positioning yourself in the regular season to get the most amount of bonus points to go into the playoffs, and then rinse and repeat with a shorter amount of races. So just hammer home, taking what you can get, maximizing points, not putting yourself in stupid positions. Yeah, and just hoping that everything you do gets you at least one more point than the next person behind you.
It worked out here tonight, a 1-2 for GRD here in North Wilkesboro. The first time HTL's been in North Wilkesboro in 4 years. A fantastic job for the team. Before we let you go and obviously debrief with the team and get ready for Memorial Day weekend coming up, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. The 81 truck looked bad fast today.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I got to work on not messing myself up when it comes to qualifying, because especially at a track like this, thank the Lord, everyone was on their P's and Q's to start the race. It'd have been real easy to get caught up and stuff. So great teamwork as always. Glad we got Gaming back on board here in the Triple S Motorsports, and with our alliance and setup support on the Cup side with Team Watson. I know this is the fixed side of things, but we're going to shout them out every time we do get the chance, because we got a hell of a lot of talent in the league, both Monday and Tuesdays this year. So, whereas before you could probably confidently say if you did everything you're supposed to, you'll get an interview. Now you got to do everything you're supposed to and then some, because we got some people that came into the league that are going to be heavy hitters. So I'm excited to get out of here. I'm excited for the Cup cars to get the hell out of Atlanta and get to some real racing and kind of seeing how we stack up on the open end of things. But you got a couple more weeks. We'll enjoy our off time. Thank you for the broadcast. Thank you to everyone that showed up tonight. And hopefully we can do it again soon.
Absolutely. We get to see the trucks on track again. Atlanta next week. The Cup Series is off for Memorial Day, but we will have racing next Tuesday. Josh Susie, points leader, cementing that points lead with a second place to follow up his win in Daytona a week ago. Josh Susie, congratulations, and hopefully we'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Thank you, Carmen.
And we will move on to third place, Eli Sasek. A little bit of a dilapidated order for the interview order here, but Eli Sasek third after having pole position here in North Wilkesboro, the first race in North Wilkesboro in almost 4 years. The truck was quick. The start wasn't so good at the beginning of the race, and you had to work back from there. Walk us through your race, Eli.
Yeah, I was surprised I put it on pole. I did not feel like I had pole pace, but I got there anyways, I think due to maybe some luck. And just reaffirmed that I have a lead foot, a lead right foot, because I feel like I spun the tires on every start except for like 2. But did pretty good. I mean, sat second, third for most of the race. Got myself back into those positions. Had a speeding penalty on the first pit stop, and then just had to work my way back. And ultimately happy with the third place. Especially with my track record at short tracks, I'm a lot better in the short tracks, in the trucks than the Cup cars, but still not the greatest. And was nice to have a good result at one for once.
Obviously, putting Daytona in the rearview mirror, I think grateful being away from Daytona for the first time in what feels like an eternity. North Wilkesboro provided a different challenge for the 9-car or for the 9 truck here tonight. Short track racing, not something that happens very often in HTL right now. What was the feeling like as far as this racetrack? Because this was going to be a challenging one for everybody. Hot track temps as well. What do you feel? Do you feel like this was a successful trip back to North Wilkesboro for the first time in 4 years?
Um, yeah, it was fun racing. It was a super hot track when we were actually racing. I saw the temps go as high as 119, so it was super slick, and sometimes that just makes it fun. I thought the racing was pretty good. We kept it clean for the most part until the end there. Albeit a smaller field, and but it's a little bit of hope constraint. I think this is one of the tougher short tracks that is on the service or that we have gone to in quite a while. So it was pretty nice and nice to get away from Daytona. I'm starting to get sick of super speedways. So unfortunately we have another one next week.
I was
But
say that you've got Atlanta 2 weeks because you got in the trucks next week, and then Atlanta in the Cup Series in 2 weeks.
Not looking forward to that. I'm ready to hit some intermediates and road courses, but it is what it is. We ride, and yeah, hopefully I like the short tracks. It gives a lot of variation to schedules, and it's something I need to get better at. So usually I like racing them because it's something that the more I race them, the more I'll get better at them, and I feel like this was a right step in the direction as far as pace on some of these tracks that I've not been good at in the past.
Before I let you go, and let you obviously get ready for Memorial Day weekend, that is the next step, I think, for everyone getting ready for Memorial Day weekend and the greatest weekend in motorsports. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. A phenomenal P3 here in North Wilkesboro, and hopefully we get to talk to you again next Tuesday.
Everybody on Ascent, Brady did not have the greatest race from what it sounded like, but he still came back to finish 12th. He was up there for a while, and he pretty good. Everybody who races for me in the Cup Series, everybody who does stuff with us in other series, everybody who ran this race, it was pretty fun, and generally nobody seemed to make two horrible missteps. So it's always fun racing with this group, whether or not we get at each other's throats sometimes. You guys for broadcasting, my grandparents for always supporting me, watching me. I don't know if they're watching this one, but it's always nice. And yeah, I think that's it.
Phenomenal job, Eli Sasick. He finishes third here in North Wilkesboro. Unfortunately, he has to make the dreaded trip to Atlanta next Tuesday for the Challenger Series race coming up in Georgia in 7 days' time. Eli, enjoy Memorial Day weekend, and hopefully we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Thank you.
That was Eli Sasick, P3 here in North Wilkesboro. Now we do get to talk to the man of the hour, the man that had the most relevant experience at this racetrack of all the 22 drivers on track here, racing the High Octane Truck Series event here a couple months ago. More power than what they used then, 715 to be exact, but that relevance still important for Josh Gaiman, who never left the top 5 in this race. Josh Gaiman, walk us through that one. You said it before. You said it, I think, in the YouTube live chat. Best race ever. It looked fun. Obviously, the restarts at the end, the start-stop nature at the end, it is what it is. We see that a lot of the short tracks, but we had a lot of green flag racing in the first 115 laps of this race. Walk us through sort of where you were at and sort of what your feeling was here from North Wilkesboro.
Honestly, I almost think that more horsepower made it easier to drive, because that high octane race, it was, we had to really jump in the throttle coming out of the corners, and it just felt like it didn't, if you tried to roll into it like I could tonight, it just would kind of fall on its face and go all over the place. But yeah, I absolutely had a blast. I love racing at this track. People can have an opinion. Everyone's entitled to at least one wrong opinion. But it was absolutely a blast getting to battle where I was, and trying to pass guys on the bottom that were running the top, or if I had to move around the outside there, I tried to stay as low as possible just to save that tire, and it worked out in those long runs.
Passing was difficult. It is typically difficult on these repaved racetracks right after a repave when the grip is the freshest here. It was a case of tire conservation, racing the track more than racing the drivers around you. And sometimes I think where the best sort of racing comes into fruition here. Was that the case with 61? And if so, how do you manage that? Because you spend a lot of time in dirty air on the replay. It kind of showing you that battle with Bryce, with Byron Jones, with you there in that top three conversation at the beginning. Was that the case of just sort of trying to manage the tires? And if so, like how do you focus on that when you're still battling for the race lead?
Yeah, I was just trying to. I really tried to enter in super low, especially in turn one. I mean, I was almost hitting the pit cone most of the race, and I feel like that just gave me enough clean air on that front end to get the truck to turn in the beginning. And then if a couple of times I washed up a little bit, and I would get stuck behind Bryce or get stuck behind Byron, and it would kind of just pull me up the track with him. So as long as I could keep that left side of the nose out of the dirty air there as much as possible, it just kind of let me rotate that truck where I needed to and straighten it up for the exits. But yeah, it's definitely not easy to manage tire when you got two guys that want to just kind of go in front of you. But I kind of let them run away there a little bit, and they got out maybe 3/4 of a second or so, and then I just kind of held there, and 10, 20 laps later, I came right back to him and was driving right underneath him.
First race in the Challenger Series kick off this season. Obviously missing Daytona. You were on the spotter stand in Daytona last Tuesday, as well as last night in the Cup Series opener. Atlanta coming up. It's there's no off weeks. It's just straight through, all the way into the beginning of fall here. What's the process look like for the 61? Are we going to see you in Atlanta next week, and if not, what's the next race that is on the agenda for the 61 here in the Challenger Series?
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty big mix-up with work over this off season, so I'll try to get my evenings off. We're kind of working on that, but I'd really like to keep showing up for sure. The truck is easily one of my favorite NASCAR vehicles to drive ever. Almost in every iteration that it's had. And it just keeps getting better now that they're slowly figuring things out in a really positive light with the aero and the tires and everything, and it just definitely is a lot more fun now than it has been in the past. So yeah, hopefully I'll be there, and hopefully I can show up for the rest of the season as well.
We hope so as well. The 61 truck looked good. The GRD boys finished 1-2 in this race. 3 trucks in the top 10 here in North Wilkesboro. Before we let you go and let you celebrate the race win and get ready for Memorial Day coming up this weekend, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. A fantastic job and a race win for the 61 crew on debut this season in North Wilkesboro.
Thank you.
If there's anyone to shout, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Shout out Triple S. Sorry. Shout out Triple S Motorsports. Just all of us working hard here as always, trying to put down the best finish we can. Shout out to Blake and everybody that put this series together. It's good to see the truck racing over here. Good to be back. It's a ton of fun tonight, and good, always good to see you here in the booth. And thank you for these broadcasts and everything you do.
A lot of fun watching tonight. Outstanding job, Josh Gaiman. Victorious here in North Wilkesboro. HTL's return, I think, overall a success. I think Josh Gaiman can definitely say so. We'll hopefully see him again next Tuesday for the race in Atlanta in the HTL Challenger Series. Josh, congratulations.
Thanks.
A phenomenal job for the drivers in the HTL Challenger Series. They survived North Wilkesboro, I think, overall with flying colors here. Let's go over the results. Most of the field finished except for 2, it looks like. Except for 2. Josh Gaiman, Josh Susi, Eli Sasek, your top 3 here in North Wilkesboro. We heard from all 3 of them. Christina Ryan, not happy with this racetrack, still doesn't love it. Finished 4th, though, from 21st on the grid. Didn't qualify. Well, raced really well in that 80 truck. Mark Parkhurst on his return to HTL Racing finished 5th for the 32 truck. Great job for him. Alfred Denny in 6th, very respectable for him. Davis Mill Jr., the 3rd Gibney Racing Division car in 7th. John Matthews in 8th. Spencer Teal, his first race in HTL in quite some time. He finishes 9th ahead of Byron Jones. Ryan Moutre and Brady Smith just outside the top 10 keep things running at the finish. Blake Henderson, 13th place, was in the top 10 at one point. Couldn't hang in there. A little bit of damage on that 25 truck, taking the race away at the end. Casey Ellis, 14th. Dakota Osborne in 15th place. Kevin Gibney Jr. in 16th. Tristan Bear, last truck on the lead lap, in 17th. Blue Jade, 2 laps down in 18th place. Wesley Worley, 6 laps down in 19th. Marcus Chafin finishing 7 laps down in 20th. DJ Anderson and Bryce Bohr not finishing more than 130 laps in this race. But everyone got to the last 20% of this race, which was pretty impressive. A lot of green flag running here in North Wilkesboro. Short tracks have hope in HTL after all. That'll conclude our coverage here from North Wilkesboro. I think a successful visit overall. Enjoy Memorial Day weekend, the greatest weekend in motorsports, with the Coca-Cola 600, the Canadian Grand Prix in Formula One, the Indianapolis 500 as well. It is a magical weekend all over the place. We'll see you again on Tuesday for the HTL Challenger Series from Atlanta. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Have fun. Celebrate safely. We'll see you next time.